All right, hello again, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Welcome to another Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Wednesday, August 30th of 2023, and we are here to discuss primarily the Jonathan Taylor aftermath. Of course, yesterday, everybody waiting with bated breath to see if, in fact, Jonathan Taylor was going to be traded before the 4 p.m. deadline, the team-imposed deadline. With Taylor also being on the PUP list. If he was not traded by that time, then he would start the season on the PUP list, which would necessitate 4 missed games. And unbelievably, that's what happened. So Taylor was not traded. The team did not receive the offer they were looking for, and so Taylor will stay on the PUP list and miss the first 4 games of the 2023 season. Holy crap. Just an utter shit show. Disaster all the way around for all parties involved. So I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Also wanted to talk about Kareem Hunt. And there was a mystery team that was involved in the Jonathan Taylor sweepstakes. I will tell you who it was. But before I go any further, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And also the notification and the like button. So let's take this apart one piece at a time in terms of Jonathan Taylor. Now, obviously, anybody who's drafted to this point, Taylor is universally owned because he's an amazing talent. On talent alone, he is a late first-round pick in fantasy football leagues. I don't think there's any question. Now, 2 years ago, he was the best player in the game. Blockbuster season. I mean, truly a remarkably dominant campaign that Taylor had. And it just shows you how good of a player he really is. Last year, great week 1. Then, of course, he eventually comes down with the ankle injury. And things, kind of crapped out from there. The numbers declined. The Colts offense completely was an abomination. The offensive line got old. Matt Ryan was completely decrepit, and Taylor's numbers suffered, and then he re-injured the ankle and then missed the rest of the season. Fast forward to the start of summer, and Taylor not happy with his contract. Him, amongst many other running backs around the league, and then requested either a new deal or a trade. Jim Irsay gave his opinion on it and really just kind of dumped a bunch of gasoline on the fire and inflamed already strained relations between the team and Taylor. And so really the only option seemed to be that he was going to be traded. Well, despite all of the rumors with the Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles and then this mystery team, Taylor was not traded. And the Colts are going to keep him on the PUP list. So he unbelievably will miss the first 4 games of the season. I got to tell you, I am completely floored by this. The fact that the Colts would allow this to happen. They may not have been happy. And listen, they did not have the leverage. Everybody knew Taylor was not happy. So they weren't going to get that first round pick. I thought it was going to be a 2nd and a 5. Whatever it was, they didn't get it. But still, you can't. This is as disruptive a situation as you can get. Your star running back going to war with the team when you're breaking in a rookie quarterback who needs all the help he can get. I mean, Anthony Richardson is a phenomenal athlete. And he's being drafted like he's a top 12 quarterback already, which he's not. And I've been saying this all summer. Anybody who's relying on Anthony Richardson as a starter right off the bat in fantasy football, that bad idea. I mean, we saw in the last preseason game, 6 for 17 passing. He has major accuracy issues, problems diagnosing defenses, footwork, release point, everything, fundamentals, you name it. He needs a lot of work on because he barely played in college. It's obvious. Yes, he can run like the wind. He's going to be a Justin Fields, Cam Newton runner, no doubt about it, and that's going to carry a lot of value in fantasy football. But he needs help. And Jonathan Taylor would have been a perfect running mate because he would have softened up the defense. They would have had to allocate resources to stop him. But now that's obviously not part of the equation. So Richardson gets hurt by this, no doubt. And now the fallout is, what are the Colts going to do? Are they really going to go into the season with, a 3-headed monster of mediocre options in the rookie Evan Hull, Deion Jackson, who can catch the football, and Zach Moss, who's coming back from a broken arm? None of those guys are appetizing to me in terms of fantasy football. Hull is a good receiver, but, he was a mid-round pick for a reason. And, if you want to take a stab at him as a running back 4 or 5 even, because this is still a really bad team, be my guest. But it's a disaster for anybody who drafted Jonathan Taylor. And in both of my leagues, he was drafted. He was drafted in the 5th round in one league. He was drafted in the 3rd round in the other. Huge disaster. So what happens now? So we have 4 games, right? So he's gonna stay on PUP. If he, they have to. He has to get through PUP first, and then they can trade him. Try to trade him again. You would think that they would be able to trade him from that point forward, because at that point in the season, 4 games in, somebody's going to go down. There's going to be a running back who tears his ACL, or like we saw last year with Breece Hall and Javonte Williams early in the season. It's going to happen. So whoever that team is, certainly would be a factor as a possible destination for Jonathan Taylor. So if you own Taylor, that's what you're hoping for right now. And that he does wind up getting traded. Now the Colts, who are acting completely childish from a management standpoint, by again having him on PUP. Now, but let me backtrack a little bit on that. I understand that there is a risk that he gets hurt, and then they're stuck with him, right? So I guess I looking at it through those lens, I can almost understand a little bit that they would keep him on PUP. But the whole thing just stinks. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. But if you're a Taylor owner, this is absolutely disastrous. You used high draft, and I told you guys all, do not draft Jonathan Taylor even before this came down. All right? He was still dealing with some pain in the ankle that was surgically repaired. He's got a running quarterback who's going to siphon away touchdowns around the goal line. He's not going to catch as many passes because he has a running quarterback who's going to tuck it and run, and not be apt to dump it off. So these were all issues I had with Jonathan Taylor coming into the season. And that was before all this drama. But the only avenue now you have is to hope that he does get traded at the end of this stint on PUP, the first 4 weeks of the season. That's all you could do to try to salvage things at this point, for sure. Now, some other fallout here. Kareem Hunt has said publicly that he had 4 teams that made him an offer. The Colts are believed to be one of them. So I've also said all along, this would be the perfect landing spot for Kareem Hunt. He would be the guy who would lead this team in rushing yards. He's a good receiver. He definitely would have the inside track to dominating touches on this team. Maybe not dominating, but have the majority of touches, both running and receiving. On this team, there's a major need now for him. Now the other 3 teams, I know New Orleans was involved, Minnesota was involved, Buffalo maybe to an extent, but keep an eye on Kareem Hunt. If he's available in your league, pick him up. I mean, hold on to him. I have him on one league just to see what it's going to... Actually, I have him in both leagues. So, I'm going to correct myself. I said Darren Waller was the only player I don't double own. Kareem Hunt is I also double own. But I'm going to cut him loose by week 1 if he doesn't sign with anybody. So, the other side to this is the mystery team has been revealed in the Jonathan Taylor sweepstakes, has been revealed to be the Green Bay Packers. So the Packers, who have Aaron Jones, who have A.J. Dillon, were the other team involved in Jonathan Taylor. What? What? How could it be the Green Bay Packers when they already have 2 backs who basically split carries 50-50? Whoa. What could possibly be going on there? Are they down on A.J. Dillon? You can't be down on Aaron Jones. He averaged over 5 a carry last season. He's been very, very explosive throughout his career. 50-plus catch guy. I can't imagine it was him that the Colts, the Packers were down on. Dillon has been very boring, very just, it's just lacking flash, lacking any kind of consistent impact. So maybe that's the guy they were going to... And maybe Dillon would have been traded to the Colts. That would have been mildly interesting from a fantasy perspective as well. So the Colts are an opportunity, whether it's Kareem Hunt, whether it's Leonard Fournette, whether it's any of these 3 guys that I just mentioned that could take the job. That's what we're going to have to look at now going forward. Miami Dolphins. Jeff Wilson's the guy to own. I know Raheem Mostert's there. They're probably going to split 60-40 in favor of Wilson. I know the rookie Devin Arshane is there as well. He dodged an injury scare in the preseason, so he's going to be a factor too. I think Jeff Wilson really is the only one I would own, but he's really just a running back 4 at this point. So Yeah, the whole thing is just amazing to me that this didn't get done. You know, it was just, it was organizational malpractice by the Indianapolis Colts. There's just no two ways about it. They should have figured out a way to get rid of him, or to make some sort of deal for him. Take what you can get. He clearly just was not coming back. You know, Taylor seems like one of those really emotional type players that's going to dig in and not budge. And the Colts should have known this. The Colts should have definitely known this and not force the issue to get to the point where it is now. So anyway, that was my take on that. Not really much going on right now besides that. Breece Hall, Robert Saleh met with the media today. He said that Breece Hall is going to be, they're going to be smart with how they use him. So that's code for Dalvin Cook's the starter. Breece Hall is going to get a couple of carries in his stead. So listen, at least for week 1, you can't start Breece Hall. I mean, maybe as a flex, I think he's going to get maybe 8 to 10 touches in that first game against Buffalo, which is not a great matchup for him anyway. Dalvin Cook has a little bit more leash. You could definitely start Dalvin Cook as a flex. But, Breece Hall, it's going to be a slow start to the season for him, as I expect it to be for Javonte Williams as well. Randall Cobb is also going to be the starting slot receiver for the Jets. Corey Davis is gone. Alan Lazard is banged up. It's going to be the Garrett Wilson show, but it looks like, that Randall Cobb will be the slot guy. Myles Gaskin signed with the Vikings. So the Vikings have been looking for some depth. They cut loose Dwayne McBride. Gaskin has had some moments in the past where, he's caught the ball okay for Miami. He was kind of a jack of all trades runner when in college. If anything happens to Alexander Madison, maybe he's just, somewhat interesting in a PPR league, but nothing major to talk about there. So, but anyway, all right, guys. So that's all I have for that on this one. Short podcast today. Any news comes out, of course, I'll update it. So hit that subscribe button. More, whether it's this or anything else, stay tuned for that. And so a lot of live streams lately. Going to plan on doing another one maybe tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk soon.